Hello Legion, and welcome to another Oracles video where we bring in experts that teach you stuff, frankly, that I'm just not smart enough to understand myself all the time. So today we have Jana Krekic from YLT Translations, and I asked her to speak specifically about one of my favorite topics on Amazon, which is keywords. A lot of you that follow my content know that I believe we don't sell products, we sell keywords. And a lot of us are thinking about international marketplaces. No matter where we're selling, we're always thinking about the next way to get more sales, the next way to get more revenue, or the way to expand our brand cross borders, which frankly, Amazon helps us do pretty easily. But if we just copy and paste listings or run our listings or our backend keywords, anything, the Google Translator, it doesn't work, right? It just absolutely doesn't work. So you have to have a very specific keyword strategy and optimization strategy, and even keywords for PPC strategy for expanding internationally. So Jana, in my opinion, is one of the foremost experts on this, and she is here to drop us some knowledge, some wisdom, and help us get our international listings and expansion plans set up correctly when it comes to translations and keywords. So Jana, take it away.
Hi everyone, hi Private Label Legion. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Jana. I'm the owner of YLT Translations, and today I will be doing a deep dive in international keywords and how to get ahead of your competitors with your content. Basically, how to optimize your Amazon listings the best way possible. My talk today is going to be for advanced sellers, so the ones that are already on international marketplaces, but maybe you have problems with your listings. Maybe they're underperforming. Maybe you don't know where it went wrong. Maybe you did a great keyword research, but I'm going to show you some of the really golden nuggets you can use on your businesses today. And then you can let me know if you increase your sales and how are your conversion rates going. So without further ado, let's jump right into it, and let's see how you can beat your competitors on international marketplaces. What's really important to remember is that a lot of really big sellers, like Amazon sellers that are 8-figure sellers, even some of 9-figure sellers that we've worked with, they don't handle their international content the right way. They care only about English content because they understand English, and other marketplaces, when it comes to content, it's not that relevant for them because they don't understand it, so they don't think it's that important. This is the impression I've got, and this is what we've seen that happens a lot with different brands and tons of listings that we've analyzed. So this means basically that you have a good opportunity to beat those competitors on an SEO level because they don't care about their content that much, because they do Google Translate, they do word-by-word translations, and then they also translate keywords. They don't do a keyword research for each marketplace separately with several different tools. So from the tools that we've been using Helium 10, and we've also been using Data Dive. So what we've realized that for international marketplaces, the best combination you can do is to combine both. Helium 10 is good for overall like keyword research, but if you want to find your opportunities and to have a tool that's going to show you where you're missing on, that's going to be Data Dive. But I have to warn you that Data Dive, before you decide to subscribe or whatever, Data Dive is great for highly competitive niches, and it's great for bigger marketplaces, let's say Germany or UK when talking about international marketplaces. But let's say if you have a product selling on the Dutch marketplace and Italian marketplaces are quite small. So I would not recommend just basically using Data Dive and solely focusing on that tool, because you're not going to have that many competitors. And why is that? It's because Data Dive focuses on your competitors. You know, if you don't have a lot of competitors, or if it's a very small marketplace, you're going to have maybe like 2 or 3 keywords that you're going to use in your content to optimize it, which is really not that much of opportunity used there, because you're going to have to use way more keywords to get ahead of your competitors. And in that sense, like, we would definitely recommend using Data to see like where the relevant keywords, and also to use it combined with Helium 10. So in order to explain what I mean and what I think it's very crucial about keyword research and doing the keyword research market research on each market separately, very important, is that even though we all speak English, it's not going to be the same English content in the UK and in the US. This is the first mistake that people make, because they just think like it's all English and then whatever. So we've had actually a seller, and she was selling diapers in the US. She just copy pasted, presented the content the same content in the UK. And the problem was that she was actually ranked for a wrong product in the UK marketplace. Because she didn't know that diapers is the term used for adult diapers in the UK marketplace and not for kids diapers, which she was selling in the US. So she spent a lot of time and money being ranked for wrong products, and it was a big disaster. So if you don't think that your content is important, and a lot of people treat it that way, 6 months after your product launch, after the honeymoon has expired, you're gonna see that if your content is not great, you're gonna see drop in your sales, and you're going to see that conversions are not as big as they were. And that's probably going to be because of your content. It can be either A, confusing to the target audience, or B, it could be having completely wrong keywords. So from my experience, from what we've seen, if your sales drop and you have a foreign language content you don't understand, it's probably going to be a job for someone to go through your content and make sure that you actually make sense in that content.
Hold on, time out. Let me stop you for 1 second. If you guys are liking this content, please give us a thumbs up on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And if you have any questions for Jana, post them in the comment section to this video, and we'll make sure that we get those questions to her and get you answered in those comment sections. All right, keep going.
Now, if we take a look at these diapers, so diapers, this is like the search volume on US marketplace, 142,000. That's great. That's a lot. And this is definitely the right word to use. But like and the diaper bag as well. But like in the UK, the diaper bag, it has only 2,500 search volume. So that's kind of, that alerts like one question. So is this the right term that I should use? Like, why is this such a big difference? It's all English. So why don't we just use the same term as we've used it like on the US marketplace? So if we take a look at the list of keywords that we have here, like in the US marketplace, diaper bag is definitely the term you're going to use for this product. But then localized keywords, I marked them in orange. Those are going to be baby shower gifts, diaper bag with changing stations. And of course, you're going to have all the Spanish keywords, because if you're selling with the US marketplace and you're not using your Spanish keywords in your backend, you're doing a horrible mistake, because the Hispanic population is enormous. And there are going to be people that are going to be searching for this product in Spanish language. So this is the situation with the US market, and these are the US keywords. Now, just imagine copy pasting this and giving it to your PPC team that's going to handle your US marketplace. And why would anyone in the UK use Spanish keywords to search for this product? So this is a complete waste of keywords, and you're going to be using completely wrong parameters on a new marketplace. And even though it's English, people will search for different terms. For instance, this is the UK marketplace. Now you can see that the diaper bag, that's basically what we would describe this product on a US marketplace. It's not that well ranked. It's not even in top 10 search terms. It's somewhere like in the middle of your whole sheet that you will get with the keywords. So actually, the English people will call this changing bag, and there's going to be tons of keywords with changing bag, which is nowhere to be found if you go back to the US keywords. So changing bag is something very important. Also, going back to the diapers, like in the US and diapers in the UK, you would use the word nappy. And that's why you would have nappy in tons of keywords, like nappy, changing bath. This is also a very localized keyword. Pram bag. Pram is a stroller that you use instead of that word in the UK English. Nappy bag, pram bag. So this is everything you will not find in your US list. And even more than that, you have nappy changing bag, nappy changing backpacks. So if you compare it to the US list, you don't have the diaper bag with changing station. Probably there are not that many changing stations in the UK. And also baby shower gifts. It's like probably not that popular an item for a baby shower gifts, and probably baby showers are not as huge as they are in the UK. So this is something that you should also take into consideration. And if you think about it, this is English. There's so many differences in English language. So just imagine comparing it to a completely different language like German or Spanish or anything else. It's going to be even major difference. And also, like, once you filter the keywords, let's say like use it in Helium 10, the US list has the diapers, all type of diaper bags, but the UK list has tons of nappies, and nappies are the way to go in the UK. So this seller doing the diaper bag would copy paste the content for the UK marketplace was doing absolutely wrong thing, even though it was English. And just imagine how much damage it will do to your product if you were just doing that and just Google translating whatever you have from the US English to any other language and not localizing it the way you should. Now, when it comes to German, let's say a lot of people want to go to Germany. If you're a US seller, of course, you're going to do Mexico and Canada. But when people asking, like, where should we expand next? Apart from UK, which is now outside of the EU, so it's not a great country to begin with because you cannot sell the products, you cannot ship them elsewhere in part of the EU. Really good marketplace for you could be the German marketplace, like the biggest one out there. And of course, as a marketplace of its own, it has its own different keyword preferences, like Wickeltasche. Wickeltasche, that's basically the diaper bag. They have the diaper rucksack bag. Also, what I've noticed, the keywords have the sizes. Like UK and US keywords, they don't have any sizing. So this is, for instance, like this is something that people search for. Like they search for sizes, they search for colors. So it's something crucial for a good content to have highly relevant keywords that people will search for. And what's really interesting, as I said, foreign content is not treated as much as you would pay attention to details or keywords in English. And that's why I would have something like, baby tasche. Something like this would be very important for the keywords. And what's very important in Helium 10 is that for the word count, I know Helium 10 has a new interface now, and you can modify this after you've done the initial search. You should put word count as number 1 because German language has a lot of these big ass compound words that usually would not all show up in the search results. Some of them might show up, but to make sure that you're gonna get all of the big compound words, and these are just regular words in German, and they're usually highly relevant keywords that you will be missing on because you did not put word count as number 1, and then you will get all the results. So what I suggest doing in Helium 10 is put the word count as number 1 and then do another research, like a regular research as you would do for any other language, which basically means that word count will be 2 and more because you want to get a long tail keyword. And then you combine those two lists to get absolutely everything that's relevant for the marketplace. So both those big chunky keywords are basically one word and 2 different words. This is what is very important because all the tools that you're using for international marketplaces, they're not optimized for German language because Spanish, Italian, French language, they all basically work the same. And they have 2 different words that make a longer keyword, that make a a long keyword. But in German, you use one compound word, and there are basically a couple of words that you can put into one word. You can express like a whole sentence. So you should keep an eye on that when it comes to German and when it comes to Dutch language, because they all have the same Germanic root and they have these compound words. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that a lot of competitors on the German marketplace will not be that hard to beat because a lot of them would not be maximizing on the right keywords and they'll be just translating them as they are. If we take, for instance, like one of the competitors, Ruvalina, which is one of the top competitors of the diaper bags in German marketplace, we can see a lot of these, of course, big words like Wickelrucksack, Wickeltasche, Wickellauflage. These are the main keywords for the marketplace. And this competitor, he did a great job. He has like 3-4 main keywords. And then when you start reading this, you're like, well, they're probably going to do a great job in bullets, right? Since they started really strong in the title. But that's just so wrong because in the bullets, they're just repeating all of these keywords. They were using the 3 right keywords, but they could have used at least 1 keyword per bullet, and they could have been ranked for way more keywords than they are using here. And this is a competitor that's highly ranked. And if you run through their like keyword sheets, they're going to have some good keywords. But you know what? You can have better because they're usually repeating the keywords in all of their listings. Like for instance, this one, Bikatashe rucksack. Only 5 out of 15 competitors in this niche are ranked for broad keyword, which means that they have Bikatashe in rucksack somewhere in the bullet, somewhere in the title, not like having it as an exact keyword. And only 2 out of 15 competitors are ranked for the exact keyword. So just imagine Bikatashe rucksack. This is a very important keyword for your product. And if you're selling baby diapers and you can like having it as a bag, this is the right keyword for you, and you can put it in the title or in the first bullet, and you can get ranked for it like so easy, and you can literally be better than 13 of like your top competitors. So this is basically the overview of all of the competitors that have that highlighted in yellow, and none of these others, they don't have a good keyword game going on in the title. And for instance, Bikatashe Kinderwagen, this is even better. This means this is a diaper bag, and then you have stroller, like pram, you know, like as an additional keyword. So if this is something that you could put on the stroller, or you can maybe like put like a hanger and hang it on the stroller, like basically can be a part of it. And most of the diaper bags can. Look at this. None of the 50 competitors are ranked for this exact keyword anywhere in their listing. Not talking about title, bullets. Nowhere. This is nowhere to be found. And this keyword has a lot of ranking juice, and it has high search volume. So I'm pretty sure a lot of these competitors here could use this keyword in their listing, because it would describe exactly what their product is. So there are so many opportunities, and there's like tons of things you can do to optimize your listings, and you will be surprised by how bad of a job your competitors have been using. And one of the top selling categories, which was the wet brush, I just literally went to that category and did a analysis, this exactly same analysis, because I was very curious. That's the top selling product on the German marketplace, like 10, 20, top 20 products being sold on German marketplace is the wet brush. 4 competitors are doing a good job. That's it. That's probably like one of the toughest products to sell on the German place. And only 4 competitors are doing a great job with their content. While, you know, that's basically other 11 are not doing that great of a job, which means that on an SEO level, you can get ahead of their competitors and you can use better keywords than they have, because trust me, a lot of content on foreign languages is really not good at all. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope I could be of help today, and that you can implement some of the things that I went through, and some of the examples I was showing that you can implement on your business today.
Mind blown. Thank you, Jana, for that. That's awesome information, stuff that everybody needs to be paying attention to. If any of you like her content and like what she's done, follow her on all of the socials, wherever she's at. Check out her website, which is ylttranslations.com, and give us a thumbs up on this video if you would be so kind, and make sure that you subscribe to our channel, because we're dropping videos pretty frequently now. Also, head over to our website, which is linked below, to find out more. Thanks, guys. See you on the next Oracles video.